I'm Shelley Rickett. I'm pretty passionate on the natural ways of life. Today, we want to tell you that we don't treat, prevent, or cure anything, but we have testimonies of products that have worked for us. We are passionate about the natural ways, and I got a few people on here that have jumped on board with us, just really believe that too. So it's fun running with them. We love doctors. We're not against doctors, but what we are against is all of the pharmaceuticals and all of the prescriptions that they keep giving out and handing out. One prescription always tends to have to lead to another prescription, to another one, to another one. And pretty soon you're on a handful of prescriptions, and you never meant to be that way, but that's what happened. Obviously, like I say, if I broke my arm or whatever, I am running to the emergency room so that I can get my arm put back in place. Donna gets to help me today, and I'm really excited about this because this is a topic that's really passionate to a few of us on here probably, but me so because, well, Donna and I are just, I think I'm a little bit older than Donna, maybe a month or two, or maybe it's vice versa. I don't remember, but anyways, we're pretty close in age. So I've just kind of passed through this phase in life, but it was a journey. And so we're all on this journey, and I love it because we get to be real with people and say, this is what we're going through. And before I tell you what today's topic is, sorry, it's kind of like a teaser thing. Maybe you don't battle with this, or maybe you've already passed this marker in your life, but be like me, and I'm always willing to learn more. And because who do you know that needs this knowledge that you may attain? Don't be like, well, oh, I don't need that because I'm already past that. We're all about passing our knowledge along. Today, we're going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. I don't know who has went through this or is going through this, but we have a lot of information. And I will say that in my initial journey, it was pretty hard for me because for me, I lost my dad at about 43 years old. All the stress, it kicked me into start having like a bunch of anxiety. What we discovered was I started into perimenopause and didn't know it. And by all the tests, I was a normal person. They're like, no, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm not fine. You don't understand. I've never taken medications. I don't do this. I'm not an anxious person. Now look at me. I'm a mess. And I realize that I'm going through this process of grieving my father and everything, but there's got to be something that is triggering all of this. After some kind of uncovering, it took about 6 to 9 months. I realized that it was perimenopause. So, and I wish that we had some of the products that we have access to us today, but it took about, for me, it took quite a few years to get through it. Get ready because it's going to be a good one. It's perimenopause and menopause. Really, it's the imbalance of the hormones. With that being said, that's what we get to go through in this next season of life. So here's some fun facts about menopause. It's traced back to the Greeks. The beginning of the word men is actually means month or moon. And the Paian, I think that's how you call it. Well, that's called pause, is meaning to cease or to stop. In other words, it's the time when a woman's monthly lunar cycle ends. The little studies have done that 50%, there's been little studies done because back then, 50% of the women died at age 34. That being said, you're not going to get a lot of studies to be able to study this premenopause and menopause. It wouldn't be until 300 years later that the studies actually began. And when it started, the study was, it's a sign of madness. So like they were telling people, lock them up, they're mad. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. In 1921, the term menopause was coined by a French physician. In the 1930s, people thought it was a deficiency disease. Doctors and studies began to look at things like that. Finally, in the 1960s, they discovered estrogen. So let's just do some synthetic estrogen therapies. In the 1970s, so most of you guys are at least lived in the 1970s or 60s and 70s possibly. And then in the Western world, they began the HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. Hallmark of menopause is based on different areas of the world. So the Western world gets hot flash. Japan, they get shoulder pains. India, they get low vision. So those are what they're basing menopause on. And I know it's kind of crazy, but, and then in our Western world, it's viewed as negative, no more babies or whatever. But in other countries, it's actually viewed as very positive. I know in Africa that they say if a woman lives past and through this time and goes on into menopause, and if she's left-handed, which I am, they want to actually put her in governmental positions. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey,
yeah.
I made it through it and I'm left-handed, so I'm in the elite club here. So what are the stages of menopause? There is perimenopause, which is where you no menopausal symptoms, but you still have your periods, premenopause. Then there's perimenopause, which means your hormones start to change and you can still become pregnant, but it usually lasts about 4 years. But I will tell you, with me, it lasted almost 10 years. And then you go into menopause, which there is no period for 12 months. And then your ovaries actually really stop producing any eggs. And that's at the age of about 51. And actually, I was 51 when that happened with me. And I really honestly thought that there was something wrong with me because I had my period for 3 weeks straight and I was losing massive blood and horrible like blood clot. I was really actually getting anemic, and I thought, oh my gosh, for somebody who has all my life only had my period 1 day a month flow and then I'd spot, I mean, it was pretty massive to me. And so I was getting pretty scared and thought I better go in. And then all of a sudden I just, after 3 weeks, I just stopped. So it was kind of an eye opener to me, but then I knew that I was done. And then post menopause, it's after you've been menopause for over a year. So that's been me since 51 to 52. So I'm 56 now. I am 4 years home free. Hallelujah. Here's our life stages in hormones. And it's just the birth and then the puberty. And so you're watching your progesterone and your estrogen cycle up and down puberty. And then obviously it's the fertile years. And then you go on in through your perimenopause and then your menopausal and postmenopausal. If you look at this line, so in the perimenopausal, it's gradually decreasing on both sides, the estrogen and the progesterone. Here's the key that people don't tell you. If your estrogen is dropping faster than your progesterone, or your progesterone is dropping faster than your estrogen, it's out of balance. And what it does is it creates everything else out of balance. So that means there's where you get all of your hot flashes, all the side effects, the headaches and everything like that. So if you can get your body to drop easily at the same rate, the progesterone and estrogen, you will not have anywhere near the symptoms. And so we're going to give you a few little clues on that today, and we're super excited about that. And that's where I was getting, through my perimenopause, I was getting a lot of the progesterone and the estrogen differences. And so I was feeling some of the effects. I didn't ever have hot flashes, but I did have irregular heartbeat and anxiety, and mine was off some. So that's kind of a marker. If you have those things as you're going through this, your body isn't dropping the progesterone and the estrogen at the same level. Here's the most common perimenal symptoms: period changes, hot flashes, trouble sleeping, fatigue, forgetfulness, vaginal dryness, mood changes, low libido, urinary challenges, dry skin, and hair loss, heart palpitations, which is what I had, and weight gain. Aren't those all fun? I just like, yeah, they're so fun. I want to have that. Sign me up, right? Fortunately, but unfortunately, it is a part of life and nobody gets to skirt around it. The best that we can help people, thank God for education on the studies and especially the natural ways, then we get to help as many people as we can go through this process. So the major causes, and again, I fell into this category, the major causes of prolonged perimenal symptoms was high amounts of stress. Yes, I had high amounts of stress. I mean, my dad was passing. Poor diet and lifestyle. I can't say that I'm grabbing whatever, living life. And chronic toxin exposure, leaky gut, and chronic inflammation. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Our gut and inflammation is key to a lot of this. And then sluggish detox systems, lymphatic systems, and then thyroid and adrenal problems. It's all related to that. Kind of want to touch on the symptoms of menopause: anxiety, depression, headaches, decreased libido, fatigue, insomnia, hot flashes, irritability, weight gain, osteoporosis, memory lapse, and vaginal dryness. I thought it was funny. I'm like, what was the difference? Premenopause and menopause. They're all the same, right? I should have just like overlapped them, and maybe other than a couple of them, osteoporosis, I mean, they're really all the same. You get all of this when premenopause and menopause. So what are some natural ways to reduce symptoms of perimenopause, menopause? If you eat foods rich in calcium and vitamin D, you maintain a moderate weight. Now, all of this is a journey. We just go on life as a journey. I mean, I'm still struggling with my extra 40 pounds, okay, that I wish I could get off. Eat lots of fruit. I know Donna is like, she's super good about the stuff like this. She's always done really well at eating and stuff. So eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Avoid trigger foods. Now, those are going to be like alcohol, lots of carbs, sugar. Exercise regularly. It could just mean going on walks. Eat more foods that are high in phytoestrogens, flaxseed, berries, oats. Drink plenty of water. Super important. So that's hydrating your cells, and that really actually helps with so many other things. Those are some natural ways. Another natural ways, get plenty of sleep, support your liver and cut back on the alcohol, include more whole foods rather than sugars. Obviously, the exercising, reduce cortisol with stress management. So supplements for perimenopause, B vitamins, magnesium, omega-3 fats, fatty acids, vitamin D3, vitamin C. For anxiety, L-theanine or holy basil, and then stress management, ashwagandha. We're going to talk a little bit about our supplements, and then I'm going to have Donna start. Our balance is and multi-mineral and antioxidants. In our world, balance is kind of the unsung hero. It's not an impact product where you're going to see results right away. But if you're deficient in a lot of these things, like vitamin A, C, E, calcium, iodine, magnesium, zinc, selenium, copper, manganese, chromium. If you're deficient in that, it will cause your body to be imbalanced. I didn't realize it until the very end of my perimenopause that I was actually deficient in a lot of these areas. For me, Ternot didn't come along until I was just beginning in my menopausal state. If I had been up on this and I had really gotten a great multi-mineral vitamin like we have, I know that I would have seen great results, because I will tell you that when I went through COVID and I started losing my hair and everything, this was the key right here. Balance, and then our collagen, which Dawn is going to talk about that in a little bit. A multi-mineral vitamin is really, really important. And doing it now rather than later is key. We don't know what our bodies are lacking. Our body needs things because it's not in our foods anymore. You can eat organic and you're not going to get nowhere near what you need to get. And so we need to supplement on that. So Donna, I'm going to let you talk, because her and I have really went through it both together. I love Donna. Donna and I and Tom and I, we've been running together for, I don't know, quite a few years now. And it's the natural ways that we love. And she moved away and we were really sad. She used to live up by us, but we didn't really see her all the time anyways. But then I feel like we connect more now that she's down in Florida than we did when she was here. I love her, and she's a wealth of knowledge as well.
Thank you, Shelly. Yeah. And I just want to dovetail up that I just love Tom and Shelly are in a time of big change, like happy change.
Happy change.
But big change, yeah, nonetheless. And so being able to make the time to answer questions when it comes to anything around the business, even just pray. Just love that they stop, they take the time in their very busy schedule to just pour into us. But the relationship is always first and foremost. And we're brothers and sisters in the Lord. And I love that. I know as women, we can joke about this. So I found this, hopefully you can see this. It says, my hormones called. They wanted to set an appointment to rip your head off. This 50s era. Yep. I know as women, we can joke about that together, but whoa, that a man would say something like around that. I come from the generation where we were excited to start our periods. I seem to be last in the group of friends that had to start, but it was a big rite of passage. And Judy Blume was a really big author back then. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Like, everybody read that book, and we just were like, I was the last, and I just felt like, oh, there's something wrong with me. But then thinking back on that graph that you showed, like how much of our life as women is just all about coming up to start your period and then starting your period and then going through those years and however intense or not intense or difficult that it might be. And then coming up on menopause, going through menopause, it's like, that's like so many years that encompass our life. I knew it, but seeing it is really eye-opening. And I have one girl and 3 boys. So I gave my daughter the same message that my mom gave me. You are not going to use your period as an excuse to be cranky, take yourself out of activities. And thankfully I did not. Some of my friends had very, very intense periods. Mine came and went. I was moody a few days before. They were very light. And thankfully too, for me, menopause was not all that intense. I really think too, maybe it had to do with genetics. My mother died very, very young, so I wasn't able to ask her questions around that. My biological mother, I really, really wanted to, from a very early age, to be healthy. Now, I went through years of alcohol addiction and a lot of self-abuse, do trauma and stuff like that. But I always wanted to have a good life. I always wanted to be healthy. Even before Trinant, I wanted to get to the root of the problem. I wanted to understand why all these things were going on in my body and get to the root of it. So I think in part too, is that I was really intentional to try my very best to eat healthy. I was supplementing, and now I'm supplementing with what I believe is the very, very best that there is out there to use. I want to liken it to years ago, I worked for DSHS, and this was about 2007-8. There was the flu pandemic, was just in Washington, going throughout all of the what people call the welfare offices. And I worked at headquarters, and my administrator said, Donna, the officers are really concerned. Would you please just do a little bit of research and find ways people can keep themselves healthy? And it took me about 10 minutes. I'm like, I went back to his office and said, Mike, how many ways can we tell people the same message that always exists? Wash your hands and keep them out of your face. Like, it's the same message. It doesn't matter what's going on. In looking at the symptoms of menopause, and really it's kind of like our body is going through almost like a grieving. It's like, okay, we're done with this, no more childbearing years. And there's a variety of symptoms that we may experience. But Shelley highlighted bloating, weight gain, definite mood swings, fatigue. And in very best, and I say this all the time on Zooms or when I share with people, Enrich is such, the digestive enzyme that we have is like the foundation, is where the best starting point that anybody could begin with supplementing. So not that they're not all good, because they are. And I believe that so many of them work synergistically, but with Enrich, it's the digestive enzyme, is prebiotic, probiotic. I didn't understand that my body had lost the ability to break down the foods that it was eating. And that's where I was still having a lot of inflammation. Who doesn't want the piece of understanding, oh my gosh, that's what's going on with my body. Phew, I'm not dying. It's just, yeah. So I have chronic inflammation on my body. Let's get rid of that. I just did a live, and I encourage people in the live, because I talk to people that are like, oh yeah, I'm taking digestive enzyme. I got it at Costco, or I got it at Walmart, or whatever. And so on the live, I said the same thing here, is put it to the test. So opening up the capsule, you don't need to do that when you take it. This is just for this demonstration. Putting it in the pudding, stirring it up, which simulates what the food is doing in your stomach. And within about a minute, minute and a half, it's turning this very gloopy substance into a liquid. And that is doing just what the food is doing in the stomach. And that's exactly what we want. And so we want to be able to break down the proteins. And it used to be, as people got older, that they would have problems, but there's so many young people. And I'm sure you've heard about young people experiencing things that normally were an old person ailment. There's so much going on in our world with our food source, with diet, that's leading all into this. I mean, babies are being born, they can't digest their mother's milk. We've heard stories of mothers expressing their own breast milk and putting it in the milk, and then the babies are able to drink the milk. The best description I give of Optimize is like Enrich on steroids.
Yes,
so
it is actually
proteolytic enzyme, and this will go to work on inflammation, debris, scar tissue. It speeds up healing within the body. So I take Optimize. Sometimes I'll take it, for God forbid, if I run out of Enrich. It will break down the food in your gut. But also I do it at night on an empty stomach. I take 2. And my husband, I think generally, I'm not trying to stereotype men, but sometimes I think women are just more intentional to take care of their health, because we're also looking after our children and things like that. But when my husband, Andy, because he has shoulder pain and he has had some TIAs, when he takes Optimize at night, when he wakes up, his body pain is so lessened. Yeah. So it really is good to take at night on an empty stomach.
That's great.
Glow. So we have a health, those of you who haven't been invited to the Facebook site, which is a health testimonial page, Health Wealth Community. I actually did a search. I just went to that, put in menopause, and it actually pulled up a glow testimony, because part of what's happening too is our, as Shelley said, is our hormone levels are dropping and our estrogen levels decrease, actually causing hair follicles to be less active. Like the texture of my hair has definitely changed than when I was younger. It doesn't seem to, although I do take glow, my eyebrows have thinned, my skin is thinning. It's just so fun getting older. At the same time, we don't want to be focused on that, because it can just take away from so much joy in our life if we're just focused on our cycles, or or what's going on in our body, or being really concerned because we don't understand what's going on in our body. Glow is a liquid hydrolyzed collagen, and so it doesn't have to be digested. It automatically absorbs, it is absorbed into the system, and so it's really a main building block of the entire body. So people take glow for hair, skin, and nails, but it's also good for joint pain. It's also good for strengthening bones. We have more collagen in our bones than we do calcium. Also can help to heal the lining of the stomach. Because Shelley, you had said something earlier about leaky gut. So it's good. And what I would really say is that depending on the severity of people's symptoms, is attack it with a bunch of different supplements instead of just trying, okay, well, I'm just going to try the glow, try the enrich. If you're having severe symptoms, and they're really kind of taking you out of life in a sense, where it's just, I mean, we went through the whole list of symptoms and tried it all.
Yeah.
It's gonna work together to really to strengthen your body to behave. We got to get our body to behave is what we have to do.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll say to that the thing that we want to point out is that there's a few products that we're highlighting, but they all work synergistically together. Mm-hmm. Like Donna was saying, try all of these different things, because when I get sick, I have kind of a handful of things. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that I never get sick, although I've never taken medication. I just flood my body with all these different things, whether it's the apple cider vinegar, whether it's the optimized collagen and all these things, what it's doing. And then people say, well, what do you use? And I say, I don't know. I use it all. And I don't know what worked, but you know what? It just worked. I think that's true with what Donna said is, if these phases are affecting your life, why not utilize what we know works, or what we know helps your bodies get through it naturally. You'll never get back to your old self, but you'll be able to walk through this journey or this phase of life smoothly, rather than this madness person, like what they used to say. Here's a couple more of our products. And again, we're just highlighting a few products that really help. And then I might call a couple of you out just to, if you have any comments on things, because I really want to hear from those that have passed through some of this as well. So Donna talked about the collagen, and I, for one, I really believe that. Even like she's saying the hair, nails, and skin. Well, the nails, there was testimonies even on the nails that they were going through premenopause and menopause. I don't remember which one it was, but their nails became brittle. Well, then they started using our collagen, and now they're growing like crazy. Here's another one, Soothe, CBD. It's the CBD world. I was 100% against the CBD world, but I tell you, man, the more that I've studied it, the more I wish that when my dad had passed away, I had that, because the anxiety, it would have controlled the anxiety and the heart palpitations and everything like that. And that's a side effect of perimenopause and menopause. So, and Soothe, it's CBD, it's about balance, getting your body back into balance. That itself is, just study the world of CBD. Only ours is unlike no other. It's not an oil, it's a fluid, liquid, and instantly absorbs into the body. We have fluid versus oils. The oils will give you about a 6 to 10% absorption rate, because oil and water don't mix, and so it won't absorb really into the body. It's harder for it to absorb into the body. And then ours is 75 to 90%, 95% absorption, because it's fluid and it instantly absorbs into the body. Definitely worth doing your research on that. And here's, I think, the final one that I put up here, and that is a new one that we have, Replenish. Replenish is one of the you can read. I kind of just did this because I wanted people to see the ingredients in our products as well. But it has ashwagandha in it. And ashwagandha is huge for stress and, different things like that. And then mushrooms, they're huge in protein. And obviously, we talked about the premenopause, menopause, we need to get protein in and fulvic acid. I've done a lot of research on this, and the Shilajit, they found it there. It's at the base of the Himalayan mountains. And then the monks, this is what they drink, the Shilajit. It's a black tar, and they drink it as a tea. And people wonder why they don't get sick. This is what they're drinking. This is what they've been drinking for years, is the Shilajit. We have Shilajit in here. We have cinnamon bark, and we know how good cinnamon is for us because it has to do with our inflammation. It also has to do with the blood. And so there's so many good things. And so this is just a tea that we have. And you drink it before bedtime. Me personally, I like a little sweeter, so I put a little bit of honey in there. It does a body good. But even Tom will tell you, my husband, he gets great sleep when he remembers to drink the tea. Renew is a vitamin E, and we have one of the best vitamin E's around. Most vitamin E's only have one type of vitamin E. We have two in ours, geranol and tocotrienols, and hands down, there's so much research done by the gentleman who created specifically for us. Renew is good. You really need your vitamin E's. And then Focus is all the B vitamins. And if you remember back to what I was saying on supplements, the vitamin B's are huge, and so Focus has all the vitamin B's on it. We're just giving you kind of a list of things that boost. Again, that's the blood flow, and getting that blood increased, and our boost actually enlarges the for people who have headaches, it enlarges the blood vessels. And so the restriction of blood flow is where people are getting migraines and things like that. Well, Boost, it's a nitric oxide formula, and it actually enlarges the blood vessels. And so people with headaches, it really helps people with headaches, and just to get that blood flowing and stuff. So we have massive testimonies on no more headaches, and then just the blood flow with our Boost products. Anybody have, Vicki, a comment on premenopause, menopausal phase that you found where our supplements have helped out?
I was, I'm old enough. I was kind of already through that, but I think I was still having trouble. Some of the supplements helped me to sleep, but that the Replenish, that's the tea, right? I have never had anything help me sleep like that does. I'm old, so I get up and go pee a couple times. I used to wake up, I would struggle to get back to sleep, and that stuff is amazing.
Well, I was like you. I wasn't on a lot of meds, and I remember people would say, you've got to go get your hormones checked. And if you're going through the menopause and you have those mood swings, our Mojo Coffee, our Focus, all of those things. And here's what I tell people. People might say, women especially, I can't afford to spend money on myself. Is like, we can't afford not to, because when we take good care of ourselves, then we are better for everyone that we are serving, be it our family, our work people. I just came to that early on, that getting supplements, I'm really glad that I do what I have to take care of myself. And like you said, we may not notice a lot of this stuff right away, but I can tell you, growing up vegetarian, which was not thrilling for a child, but eating salmon and walnuts every day, I am sure has lent to my being healthy as an adult.
Vicki, did you want to share anything?
Basically, I had already gone through all of that before the supplements were introduced to me, but I'm just going to praise the Lord, because I really had a mild time through that. Hot flashes. That was the worst thing, is the hot flashes. But other than that, and like Billy had said, the Replenish, I have never had such nice sleep. I'd be the one to wake up at 2 and couldn't go back to sleep, but not anymore. So that tea is awesome for that, for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have a few other things. I just want to quickly tell you about our business, 2 or 3 minutes, just kind of share a little bit of the journey that we've been on. But it is our heart to just share. Here's our other products. We kind of went through a lot of them today. We went through the Enrich, the Glow, Renew, which is the vitamin E boost. We have a meal replacement, and it is packed with good gut stuff, good gut flora, and and it can be for used as a meal replacement. It just has so many other values, added values to it. So whether you lose the weight or not, it is just a great meal replacement. So many good stuff in there. Lori talked about the Mojo. There's a few of them on here that love the Mojo, and my husband does too. And it's the Good For You coffee. The CBD, we talked about one of them. We have 3 lines, but one is a spray, same as the drops, and then one is a muscle rub. And I tell you, that muscle rub is amazing. Really, that's all the products that we have. We don't have a whole lot of products, but what we do have, we know are the best of the best, and they work. So that's what's key, because I have used products for years and they work for a little while. Maybe 30 days, maybe 60 days, but then they stop working. I don't notice the difference anymore. So when you can say after 4 to 4.5 years that these products still work, the enzymes work, oh my gosh, that's pretty amazing. So, you want to get on products that actually work. I believe that all of our intentions are good, but sometimes we want to skimp on things, and we want to skimp and go to Walmart and buy, a supplement, whereas you really need to do your research on the quality of supplements, because it would be better for you to pay a little bit more to get a better quality supplement. And so this is what we have. We do have the best of the best, and we are proud of it. There's been a few of us here. We like to do this as a business. It's a part-time gig for most of us. You can earn 50% commission on, you have to get to 1 rank to earn the 50%, but you start out by earning 25%. That's pretty good commissions if you choose to become an associate. And we have so many people winning on our team for commissions. That's really great. There's a 10 and 3. If you get 10 customers and 3 associates, you can get $1,000 a month. Angie, I know, has done it. There's been a number of people that's done it. Last month, Angie and her husband just blew it out of the water. And I'm super excited for them and their journey. And there's so many people that we get to help. Our first position is a Jeep position. We've gotten people there in, we got somebody there in, I think it was 3 days or 5 days, something like that. So, the average is 30 to 60 days that we can get somebody to the Jeep position, but it's fun and we work with you. It doesn't take anything to get there. And you can tell there's several of us on here that get the Jeep, and we're winning because we get to help people. First and foremost, if we don't make this a business, we actually make it a lifestyle. We love to share with people, because when you have a passion to share with people to help get them healthy the natural way, it all just becomes easy, and it becomes fun, and you're that light in somebody's hopeless dark world. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. Donna, if you have anything to say, or Lori, just to kind of end it out, but we really appreciate everyone here today that's come on, and get with the person that invited you. If you have questions, we're not here to sell anything today. We are just here to educate people. Thanks for being on the call today.
Looking for my cousin's comment on the post. And the reason I did it is because the reason I did the post is because that very day, Lori and I had talked. We are navigating our entire world through very, very hard times. And we don't know when we're going to turn a corner. If we are going to turn a corner, we know who holds our future. And so I had gone to a local health food store to get some raw almonds and some filtered water. And it's a family-owned place. And the lady behind the counter, she said, well, we were told today we have to raise our prices again. And I understand it, because we're in an incredible time of inflation. So I did a post, and it was basically, when you hear their prices are going up, how do you respond? And my cousin said, God shall supply all my needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. And that's it. It's like the dovetail off what Lori said. Like I don't want to compromise, and I won't actually, on the supplements that I'm using, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I'm getting my health where it needs to be. And I don't want to any more than I'm going to go to the store and buy cheap food because I have to eat. You know what I'm saying? I'm accustomed to eating healthy. I know how to shop wise. And so I just wanted to thank Lori for saying that, because it is very important. And if we have faith in the Lord, he's our guide. He's the best one to go to.
I just want to say too, you're worth the investment. Don't chintz on everything. You're worth the investment. we're really kind of the glue that sticks everything together in the family, as moms. So it's really important that we take care of ourselves. Okay, Angie.
John and I have been on a health journey for a very long time, and we see naturopath, and we do a lot of things to help our health, especially my husband, who's come off some very hard illness. But I can honestly say that these products, which we do many of them now, have made a huge change it's sped up our healing. Yep. And talking about menopause, I've had a long history of female problems. I've had 5 surgeries and scar tissue, and then I went into being a caregiver for my dad, and then the stress with John, I put on lots of weight. I still see it in my face. It makes me crazy. Now that my body is getting into balance, and I give these products the credit for that, I'm feeling more like myself. We're feeling better. I'm having more energy. That's my biggest struggle right now, is the energy. So I just, the collagen has been an amazing addition for John. And just everything has worked together so beautifully in addition to what we've been doing. So having said that, these products are outstanding. They are unlike anything we've had in the past. Anything.
Yeah.
Just wanted to
thank you so much. Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you so much for jumping on today. And again, if you have any questions, get with the person that invited you. We're so thankful, and we would be so excited and honored to have you on our health journey if you so choose to.